Hello students. So this is third part of your first chapter, that is heredity and evolution. So if you are new on this channel, you can simply go into the description box, click on the link and see the previous two videos so you can continue with this video. Okay. So our next topic is evolution. So see with the definition. Formation of new species due to changes in specific character of several generations of living organisms as response to natural selection is called as evolution. Okay. So to understand this definition, we will take example of evolution of monkey into man, right? So we all know that we evolved from monkey. Our ancestors were monkey, right? So here the formation of new species. Formation of new species means formation of man from monkey. Okay, due to changes in specific character. Now what were the changes? Changes like monkey evolved in man, and changes were monkey used to walk on 4 legs, we used to walk on 2 limbs, right? Changes in the external structure, appearance, and also the intelligence. Intelligence of human is more than monkey, right? So these were the changes in specific character of several generations of living organism as a response to natural selection. So it is called as evolution. Okay. So next is theory of evolution. Now see, according to this theory, first living organism or first living material was protoplasm, has been formed in ocean. According to this theory, ये theory ने क्या बोला है कि फर्स्ट लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म या फिर फर्स्ट लिविंग मटेरियल जो अर्थ पे डेवलप हुआ था, दैट वाज प्रोटोप्लाज्म एंड इट वाज फॉर्म इन ओशन. एंड आफ्टर प्रोटोप्लाज्म यूनिसेल्युलर ऑर्गेनिजम्स वर फॉर्म्ड. नाउ व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय यूनिसेल्युलर? यूनिसेल्युलर मीन्स द ऑर्गेनिज्म विच हैज ओनली सिंगल सेल और वन सेल, लाइक अमीबा, पैरामेशियम, यूग्लिना. ओके. देन आफ्टर दैट, after unicellular organism, larger and more complex organisms were formed, like multicellular organism, which includes all the animals, plants and human beings. Okay. So see, first according to this theory, what this theory of evolution says, first organism was protoplasm, which was formed in ocean. After that, after protoplasm, unicellular organisms were formed. After unicellular organism, multicellular, larger and more complex organisms were formed. And all these changes were slow and gradual. These changes were slow and gradual, and this took about 300 crore years for development. Okay. So these changes were multidimensional and lead to evolution of types of organism. So after this, the next topic is evidences of evolution. So there are 6 types of evidences. First is morphological evidence, second is anatomical evidence, third is vestigial organs, fourth is paleontological evidence, connecting link, and then embryological evidence. Okay. So we will discuss these evidences in detail. See in your textbook. So what do you mean by morphology? See, morphology means external appearance or external structure of any organism, of any living organism. Then for this, to understand this, you need to observe this diagram in your textbook. So this diagram of animals. So you can compare these animals, see the position of eyes, position of nostrils, their ears and thickly distributed hairs on their body. If you observe this thing, you will see that all these things are similar. The eyes are similar, the nostrils are similar, the distribution of thick hair on their body is similar. Everything is similar. What this indicates? This indicates that they have some common ancestors. Similarly, if you observe these plants, if you observe leaves of these plants, see the color of the leaf is almost same. Shape of the leaf is almost same. The veneation, the leaf veneation, etc. Everything is almost same, which indicates that they also have some common ancestors. After this, second evidence is anatomical evidence. Now what do you mean by anatomical evidence? Anatomy means study of bone. Anatomy means study of bone. Now if you see this diagram, first is human hand, second is cat's foreleg, third is patagium of bat, and then next is flipper of whale. If you see the structure of these animals, if you see human hand and cat's foreleg, Externally, they don't look similar at all. But what is the similarity in them? That the bone and the joint structure are similar. If you see their bones and joint structure, they are quite similar, which indicates that they have the common ancestors. Okay. So next is vestigial organ. Third evidence is vestigial organ. So what do you mean by vestigial organ? Vestigial organs are the organs which are useless or which we don't use now. Okay, the useless organs are called as vestigial organ. So the examples which are given in your textbook of vestigial organs are ear muscles, wisdom tooth, tailbone, and appendix. They've also given. They're also said. It is also said in your textbook that hairs, body hairs are also useless organ. But I don't personally think that body hairs are useless, because your body hair protect your body from the harmful UV rays. So let us discuss other examples. Ear muscles. You don't use your ear muscles, which is again a vestigial organ. Then wisdom tooth. Wisdom tooth is not used for chewing, so it is a vestigial organ. Then coccyx. Coccyx is called as tailbone, which is also not used now. It is also a vestigial organ. Then appendix. What is appendix? See, appendix is an organ or a part of your intestine which is situated just below your large intestine. Okay, appendix is part situated just below your large intestine. Now, what was the use of appendix? Now appendix is useless because we eat cooked food, but when our ancestors were monkey, they used to eat the raw food. So to digest that raw food, appendix was useful. But as now we eat cooked food, appendix is useless. So next is paleontological evidence. So what do you mean by paleontology? Paleontology means study of fossils. Paleontological evidence means study of fossils. Now what do you mean by fossils? Fossils are the remnants or impression of dead animals which are buried inside the earth crust. Okay, I repeat again, fossils are remnants or impression of dead animals which are buried inside the earth crust. Okay, now with the help of paleontological evidence, you can find out the time since death or time of death of that animal with the help of carbon dating method. Now we will discuss carbon dating method in detail. So we'll see what is carbon dating method. Okay. Carbon dating method. So time passed since death of a plant or animal can be calculated by this method. See, this method is used for what? Time passed since the death of plant or animal can be calculated by this method. See, now we all know that humans inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, right? Humans do what? Inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, while plants inhale carbon dioxide and exhale oxygen. Okay? So what happens after death? But after death, carbon consumption of living organisms stop, and since then the decaying process begins. Okay? Till we are alive, we will inhale oxygen, exhale carbon dioxide, and plants will do vice versa. Means they will inhale carbon dioxide and exhale oxygen. But after death के बाद क्या होता है? ये जो carbon consumption है, carbon consumption stop हो जाता है and decaying process begins. Okay? So how will you calculate the time? Time of death calculated by measuring the radioactivity of C14 and the ratio of C14 and C12. Now what is C14 and C12? How will you calculate the time of death? By calculating the radioactivity of C14 and ratio of C14 and C12. Now we need to understand what is C14 and what is C12, right? So carbon has two isotopes. First is C12, which is common, which contains 6 protons and 6 neutrons and forms C12. And second one is carbon 14, which is radioactive, which contains 6 protons and 8 neutrons, which forms C14. Okay. See, carbon 12, which is common carbon, has 6 protons and 6 neutrons and forms C12, whereas carbon 14 is radioactive, has 6 protons and 8 neutrons and forms C14. Right. So now after the death, C14 starts decaying and reduces in size. What happens after death? If an animal is died, then the C14, the radioactive carbon, will start decaying and will reduce in the size. Okay. So we will see this with the help of example. See, for example, if an animal is died, at the time of death, there is constant proportion of C12 and C14 in his body. Okay. At the time of death, there is constant proportion of C12 and C12 and C14 in its body. Okay. जब एक एनिमल का डेथ हुआ होगा, at that time C12 and C14 का रेशियो कांस्टेंट रहता है. What is the constant ratio? 1000:20, right? But after some years, C12 will decay, as we all know, and reduces in size. What will happen? After some years, the C14 will decay and will reduce in size. See here, the constant ratio was 1000:20, but after some years, it will become 1000:18. Okay. More the year will pass, more C14 will decay, and this will help us to calculate the time of death or time since death. Okay. So next evidence is connecting link. So there are 3 examples for connecting link, that is Parapetus, duckbill platypus and lungfish. So if you see characters of Parapetus, see, Parapetus have 2 characters. First is it has segmented body, thin cuticle and parapodia like organs. If you see diagram of Parapetus in your textbook, it is given that it has segmented body, thin cuticle. Cuticle means skin. Okay. Segmented body, thin cuticle and parapodia like organs. What do you mean by parapodia? Parapodia means legs. Podia means leg. And para means multiple. Multiple legs like organ. Which is character of Annelida. Right? And it also has another character, that tracheal respiration and open circulatory system. This is character of Arthropoda. Tracheal respiration and open circulatory system is character of Arthropoda. So Parapetus has 2 characters in it. That is character of Annelida also and character of Arthropoda also. So this is connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda. So Parapetus is connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda, having 2 characters in it. Okay. So next example is duckbill platypus. Now see, what are the characters of duckbill platypus? First is they lay eggs like reptile, and second is they have mammary glands like mammals. Okay, lay eggs like reptile and have mammary glands like mammals. So this is duckbill platypus is connecting link between reptile and mammals, having 2 characters of reptiles and mammals. Third is lungfish. See, as we all know that fish respire with the help of their gills, but this is one fish which performs respiration with the help of lungs. Lungfish performs respiration with the help of lungs irrespective of being fish. So all these 3 examples indicates that mammals are evolved from reptiles and amphibians are evolved from fishes. Okay, what this connecting link tells you, that mammals are evolved from reptiles and amphibians are evolved from fishes. So the last evidence is embryological evidence. So to understand this embryological evidence, observe this diagram. See, if you see this first stage, there are few organisms. First is fish, salamander, tortoise, chicken, pig, cow, rabbit and man. If you see first stage of this organism, the first stage is almost similar. In the first stage, all the organism look similar inside the embryo. Embryo means womb. Okay, all the organism look similar inside the embryo in the first stage, and changes start occurring from second and third stage. Now what this first stage indicates, this first stage says that they have common ancestor. Okay, this first stage will indicate, or this first stage will tell you that they have some common ancestors. Okay, So the next topics, which are Darwin's theory of natural selection, then Lamarckism and human evolution, we have already discussed in our previous video, that is part 2, previous video part 2. So स्टूडेंट्स, इफ़ यू लाइक दिस वीडियो, अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छी लगी हो, पसंद आई हो, हेल्पफुल लगी हो, तो प्लीज़ डू लाइक दिस वीडियो. एंड इफ़ यू हैव एनी डाउट्स और क्वेरी, let me know in the comment section. Please do share and also subscribe the professor.